Fuck yes, welcome to After the Hype with me, your host is always Brian Dressel. With me, as always, is Jonathan Hardesty.
Let's do this.
Ryan James.
Woohoo!
And CHEWIE Darso.
Oh, hi.
Special guest today is Lawrence Thunell.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Lawrence. We've been trying to get you on for years, question mark?
I know, I'm hard to lock down.
It's like, I have a friend who does a lot of voice acting. He'd be great for a podcast. I should ask him. And it's like, yep, not available. Yep, not available.
Well, I am now, and I'm here.
Now you're here.
I used to do a lot of podcasts. I'm actually really happy to be back on a podcast forum thing.
I'm glad that
Let's
we're
do
having
it.
you.
Let's talk.
So before we get started, do you have anything you want to plug?
Me?
Yeah.
Ooh.
We plugged your movie Kickstarter back in the day.
Yeah.
Is that still coming out?
Yeah. Hopefully they shoot in September. I don't know if I'm going to be part of the cast, but if I am, it's great. If not, great.
It was a really cool idea.
Yeah, Rainbow.
Yeah.
For those of you
I
listening.
don't know the one episode that I was talking about.
Yeah. No, I've been doing like audiobooks for little kids in Korea, but I can't really plug that because we're not in
Little
Korea.
kids in Korea.
And just like auditioning and stuff and working on The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise.
That's cool.
But I don't think I need to plug that 'cause
I think they're doing
they're
fine.
doing okay.
Bachelor in Paradise?
Yes, it's the best show.
Where is Paradise? They already shoot
Nice
The Bachelor.
cover.
Just
in
Mexico.
Yeah, they go to Mexico. They go to Mexico for a couple weeks.
That
and
Mexico's Paradise?
Don't ask how I know that.
So really quick before we jump into where have you been doing? I feel I need to mention the quote unquote elephant in the room. This is Ryan's last episode as official co-host.
Oh. Yeah.
Very sad.
Oh, no. I'm being replaced by new microphones.
Yeah.
I just want to say womp womp.
Ryan will still be around from time to time when he
Yeah.
has time, but his weekly appearances have come to an end.
I will take on more of an engineering role here, and maybe I'll write some notes, some technical notes for the show.
Yeah, and so he will not be gone, but you will not hear him every week.
I'm
like
just
you
imagining
have
you standing in the corner now saying the sound equivalent of you missed a spot.
I might. Yeah. Be like, Brian, the microphone's overloaded a little bit on channel 2. No, I'm hoping I could be your Paul Schaefer. Like, yeah, Brian, you're right. Whoa!
That'd be perfect.
Just record a couple of canned responses of that, and we can use a soundboard or
Awesome.
something.
Yeah,
Yep.
perfect.
Done.
Actually, we need to turn you into a soundboard.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's the next phase of Ryan
Let's
2.0.
RJD2.
Oh, we're going to replace Ryan with an auto... I don't know the word.
Yep, it's
Automatic.
Yep.
No.
We moved on.
Robot.
A robot Ryan.
Automatic
Yeah,
robot.
Ryan.
Robo Ryan. I like Robo Ryan.
Robo Ryan.
Robo Ryan.
Where's Ryan going? Where,
Uh,
I don't know.
Well, hopefully Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to Canada.
At some
Yeah.
point, Canada.
Did you hear Donald Trump is our president? So,
So that's it.
yep.
And
Yeah.
his lady love is in Canada.
Oh, yeah, and also I have a girlfriend.
Candace, the woman in waiting.
She was on once.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
on once.
Hi, Candace.
Yeah.
She's
doesn't
been waiting
listen.
a long,
It's okay.
long time.
Okay, we need to move into where have you been doing now that we get that boring bullshit out of the way. For all of
The
our
turn
fans.
from Lawrence into Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so where have you been doing? I have been watching Band of Brothers because I'm going to be on the Tom Hanks Giving podcast, and I decided to give it a shot again.
Do you recommend it?
I do. I was not 100% sold when Elvis told me I had to watch all of it, but I was being very supportive, and I'm like, yeah, I could do that, no problem. But I remember when it came out when I was in high school thinking, this is okay. It's not Saving Private Ryan. And now watching it as older and not just wanting to watch people get their heads blown off for 10 episodes in a row, I can actually appreciate the story and the drama and the acting and whatnot, and I think it's absolutely phenomenal. And I'm about halfway through it. I'm surprised at how much I don't remember. But I did watch it like week to week when it aired, and I've never seen it since. So going back, I highly recommend it. And if you haven't seen it, I think it's fantastic.
Very good.
That's all I'll say.
I'll jump in. I've been reading comics again. I picked up the first 2 issues of Redneck based on the suggestion from our friends at Blast Off Comics, and it is absolutely fantastic so far. It's about some vampires living in Texas who are kind of like on the down low. It's a family. They've been living there for several hundred years. They run a barbecue business in town, which is genius. So they raise the cattle, drink the cattle's blood, sell the meat to these guys who run their store, who give them the money to go buy more cattle so they can drink their blood. And they've had kind of a Cold War going with another family in town, and the first issue kicks off with the truce being broken. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Oh,
That sounds amazing.
It's really good.
that sounds really cool.
Second print of the first issue just came out last week and should be available still.
I'm going to a comic book store after this recording.
We are.
Dot.
Grab them.
Grab them.
Next.
Grab him by the neck.
I've been watching Dear White People on Netflix.
Yeah.
I
You like
watched the full season. Yeah. As like a Chapman alum, because the writer-creator came from Chapman
Sure.
around the time that I was there too. I really like the movie. The show's pretty good. It has its moments of being a little cheesy, dare I say.
Yeah.
A little corny, a little on the nose. But
That's what I've heard.
It was
I liked
mine
it.
last week, and I said exactly that thing.
Yeah?
I gave it another shot. I finished the season, and it does get better.
It does get better,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. It gets
I mean,
better.
how does it not go a little on the nose when the name is Dear White People?
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I would argue that Moonlight is a better Dear White People.
Oh, okay.
I would argue the same. But
We should do an episode on Moonlight.
We should.
We should.
Maybe soon.
it knows what it is, right? The show kind of
Yeah,
knows
I
what
think
it
so.
is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
Chewie, John.
Oh, well, I have not been able to watch too much lately because I've been working. Mostly been rewatching Friends with You.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I was busy is because I was still on Drunk History,
Yay.
which I adore. And if you do or do not watch the show, just know that the crew on that is wonderful. Derek Waters is wonderful. Jeremy, the other director, is wonderful. And very sad to be leaving them because I have to go back to Superstore.
Hopefully they get another season 2.
Yes. Well, I'm sure Drunk History. I mean, everyone enjoys that show.
Yeah.
Anyone who does watch it or sees clips enjoys Drunk History. So I'm not worried about that show.
Unfortunately, everything I enjoy eventually gets canceled.
I'm sure they're going to get a sixth
sad.
season, and I hope to join them again. And yeah, so that's where I've been doing.
Such a good
Sad to leave a nice little family to go to a show that will hopefully buy us a house.
Heyo.
There you go.
Really hoping nobody from the other show's listening.
I mean, I enjoy Superstore
Wait
too,
a minute.
but the camaraderie is not quite as tight.
That's fair. John, last but not least.
So we introduced my daughter Karina to Star Wars just to see how long. I mean, she's 4 years old, so we weren't expecting the whole movie, and we got about half hour in. But I wanted to bring it up because having not seen it for a while, I have the newer Blu-ray set, that really beautiful box set of all
Right,
6. Man, some of these editions are just weird. And
Oh, so bad.
the only one we came up to right now is just Obi-Wan's horrendous screech in the desert with the Tusken Raiders. It's an awful bit of sound mixing, and the visuals are so beautiful in this transfer, but the sound mix is just awful. At least in A New Hope. I don't know if they did better in their later ones.
They don't.
They don't.
No.
Oh, man.
No, there's
That's a bummer.
There's
That's
a
a
lot
bummer.
of problems, but it is if you just want to look at it, it's the absolute best way to look at Star
I
Wars.
gasped when Star Wars, like when
Yeah.
the crawl came on, the ships were there. I was like, this is the best transfer I've ever seen.
Did you get to the TIE Fighter fight yet?
Not yet, no.
They did a very good job removing some of the matte lines around the TIE Fighters, which was a problem when they did the DVD transfer because those came through crystal clear.
That was
Okay.
the biggest issue and the greatest thing they fixed with those
Yeah.
redos in the 90s.
Yeah.
Ryan, you got a piece of black something on your shoulder that's going to bother me.
It's a
the whole day.
symbiote.
Can you please get rid of it?
Can you come get it
Just
for
brush
me?
your shoulder
I'm
off,
just
you know? Just brush it off.
Thank you. Thank
She
you.
was so going to do it.
But yeah, so that's it. So I'll be cringing along with all those weird changes over time.
Yeah, there's only one that's like a hell-worthy trespass, and that's in the end of Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
No.
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 Yep.
No to the no.
Oh, no, that was the end of episode 3.
Yeah. That one still works for me.
It
I
does.
think that was a great moment. I'm sorry.
All of the no's.
You tried.
No.
You tried. You tried. I
Prometheus
appreciate
was totally the best alien movie.
People are just rage quitting our podcast right now. Oh, they're idiots.
That happens.
it. All right, let's get some other hot takes out there.
No, let's move into today's episode, which is Moonlight.
La la. Oh.
No, I was gonna do it, and then
Moonlight.
I did it last week. I don't want to do the same joke twice.
Too late. I'm forcing it.
So Moonlight came out last year. It obviously did very, very well. It won Best Picture. It made a very good amount of money for how much money it spent. I kind of lost track, and then Ryan's internet here is phenomenal, so the page is still loading, so I don't have that number for you. I apologize. But it did well. Everything about it did well.
It deserved it.
It did.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And when I look at everything that came down, like I think like this one won everything, and it deserved everything it won.
Yeah, I agree.
I just wish it happened cleaner,
Right.
if you will.
Was it based off a Florida State thesis film? Do I have
No,
that
it was
right?
based. It was a play.
The play?
Yeah.
But I thought it was an unproduced play. I could be
I
wrong.
don't
I could be
know.
totally wrong, but I thought it was like written as a play, never got made, and then turned into a movie.
Well, now it's a movie.
Yes.
We can say that with certainty.
I know it's a movie.
It's a movie, yeah.
I was questioning it for a little while. Like, am I watching a movie or a play? And then like nobody was in my room, so I figured it was a movie.
Yeah.
I'm just
Well, I
killing
kind of got
time.
tipped off when the camera turned around and I didn't see the actual audience watching. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a movie.
Seriously, if they haven't rage quit our episode yet, they're gone now.
Oh, so much for all that networking.
Yeah.
The play was called In Moonlight, Black Boys Look Blue by Terrell Alvin McCraney, if I said that right.
I'm sure you nailed it.
Moonlight's a little more succinct of a name, but I like the other one too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they both work.
Yeah.
I don't think that title would have ever gotten a nationwide release
It's a
of a
long
film.
name.
I think it's more of the Black Boys Look Blue that they'd be like, man, how about we just call it Moonlight?
Yeah.
We're going to shorten that up a little bit and sell some tickets. Okay, so I think it's time for a breakdown.
Oh.
Is everybody excited for a breakdown?
I'm super pumped.
Is Lawrence excited for a breakdown?
I'm a little nervous, but I'm very excited. Yes.
So do you think you can do it?
30 seconds. Yeah.
30 seconds to say the whole movie. Now, keep in mind, if you fail, we're going to make fun of you.
Okay. Cool.
If you succeed, you can make fun of us.
Why? Why would I make fun of you if I succeeded?
Well,
I'd like to join. Like.
It's a victory
be more-
lap.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So is everybody ready to go?
I'm not going to do anything. So.
Perfect. So Moonlight in 30 seconds. Go.
Right now? Oh no. A story of a boy coming to age. Story of a boy told in 3 parts of his life. First part, he doesn't quite know he's gay. Then he realizes he's gay, and he grows up in the trap with a drug lord who is also selling drugs to his mom. And his mom's really messed up, but she can tell that she loves him. And then he finally figures out himself at the end, but not quite, and falls in love with his old crush. And yeah.
You're out of time. Whew, that was tight. I'll put it to a vote. Who thinks he did it? Raise your hand.
Yeah, I'll give it.
I'll be
Oh, we got
Jim.
3.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
so you got a no from Chewie, but I'll
Whatever,
call that a
Chewie.
success.
He stuttered a lot in the beginning.
That's true. I did kind of spring it on him, though.
I wasn't quite ready, and it's very dense. The movie is so
It is,
dense.
Yeah. For something that's very simple, it's also very complex.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
All right, so yeah, way to go. I think we should start actually talking about the movie Moonlight. Where do you guys want to start on this thing?
It's a very
Very
clear,
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
but it's a very clear
I mean,
3-part structure.
Do you want to talk about that? Is
Yeah,
that
well-
the way that it was told? Because it's not a traditional 3-act
No,
story. It's a 3-part
it's
slice
almost
of life.
You could
It's like
almost
it's
argue
chapters.
It's a character study for sure.
I would almost say it's almost like 3 short films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stocked up next to each other.
Which
So,
I didn't know going in because I didn't know much about this movie.
I refused to watch a trailer or anything. So I like when I looked at the poster originally, I thought it was just one guy's face.
Yeah, me too.
It wasn't until I walked out of the movie and I looked at the poster again. I'm like, oh,
Right.
that's a child, a teenager, and a full-grown adult. Like I had no idea.
Yeah.
But
I was I had a good time. I didn't know anything about this movie going in.
Right.
So I didn't know that it was going to do the time jump. And then it did it so smoothly that it was obvious to me what had happened. And I really enjoyed it.
No, my favorite thing about the way they do the time jump in the movie is that it treats its audience with respect.
Absolutely.
Like it does it in a way where like I feel like a lesser movie you would have seen what's his name?
Juan die?
Yeah, you would have seen Juan die.
Yeah, I've seen that
And
too.
this one, it's very much like he died a while ago, and everyone's kind of moved on because
Yeah.
that's what happens in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I think like as upsetting as it was to no longer have him in the movie, it's still like, well, yeah, but wouldn't it be just as upsetting to no longer have him in your life? Isn't
Right.
that kind of like
Right.
the point?
And I appreciate that they didn't glorify or like even really show any violence there, even though
Yeah.
it was very
Yeah.
implied. Obviously, it's implied. And
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
probably
He was a
got
drug
killed.
dealer, yeah.
Yeah.
He probably
Yeah.
got killed. And
Drug
shot.
dealer in a very terrible neighborhood was probably shot and killed.
And I love the way that they didn't glorify that life either. Like when
No.
that scene, let's just jump into some scenes. You want
Sure,
to?
yeah.
Well, at the end of the first act or whatever you want to call it, where the kid comes over and is asking him like, "Is my mom on drugs? Do you sell drugs?" And he can't even look at him. He just keeps his head down. The kid walks out. It's like that is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those moments that like I always like to say like I can pick out where people voted for the Academy Award. It's like, oh,
Right.
that scene won him an Academy Award.
Yeah.
And no matter how good he was throughout the entire thing, like that whole thing like it's all what's said and what isn't said. And
Yeah.
like the kid's asking, "Do you sell my mom drugs?" And he admits to it without ever saying those exact words.
Yep.
Like it's so well done.
And I love the setting of that because they're in his house.
Yeah.
Not the kid's house, but
Well, they're
Juan's
in
house.
Juan's house.
They're not in Juan's house. I thought they're at Teresa's house.
Well, they were together.
They're together.
Oh,
they're
okay.
living together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that house is so
Nice.
so nice, but like so like book nice.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it's like he saw an image of what he thought was like good representation of success.
And a good
And he
home,
went to
yeah.
go buy it. Like all the furniture matched. It was like white walls. Or like I would consider a very boring setup, but it was very like, I have money, so I'm gonna buy these things. So he probably felt, and in that contrast of being surrounded by what is material wealth, material success, and then the kid throwing it in his face of like, not just that you're destroying my mother, but this is how you chose to make your success.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he's not proud of it.
No, I never got the feeling he was proud of what he was.
Right.
And he feels like the type of guy who was at some point.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
he's got the
proud
crown in
that
the car, like,
he's a
it-
self-made man.
Yeah, but I feel like no, he enjoyed what he did at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like that's in the character. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like at some point he was that tough guy and he loved every second of it, and then he grew out of it. But
Yeah.
that's where he is,
Yeah.
and he can't get out of that
It's
system.
like once you see enough of your friends die, you
Yeah.
realize what's going to happen to you.
Yeah,
I think what I just realized right now too is there's not really a representation of like what success would look like if it was done the right way in that movie. Like they just don't have that image in the movie.
And that's true of their culture.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's really tough for
Yeah.
to find positive black role models in their
Yeah.
lives.
And that's the thing. So this guy is most clearly not a good role model.
Yeah.
But he's trying. And
He was he's like one iota better than the kid's actual father.
yeah, exactly.
He was just gone.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was,
So that's the difference. Is he's there. He's still not a good. He's not a good dude, but he's
Yeah.
trying. And like,
Yep.
there's so much of that. It's just like, oh fuck.
It's like
don't know.
he's
I
trying
thought-
to be the role model, but he isn't leading by example. So how do you do that?
Yeah.
I would
sorry.
argue
I
he's
still
a good
think he
guy.
taught. I mean, other than the drug things, I still think he taught him a lot of really great things.
Absolutely.
I
Oh,
thought,
absolutely,
As
yeah.
a father figure, minus his occupation, I thought he was fantastic.
No, I totally agree with you. I'm just saying that like it's still like okay, so he's a very good father figure who's still selling drugs to his mother.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is absolutely teaching him very important things. The fact like it still almost surprised me in the movie that he was so just okay with the fact that he's probably gay.
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
just like okay with it, just like 100% accepting. Just like,
Like-
yeah, that's just who you
Like,
are,
I
and
love
that's fine.
the
Yeah.
moment where he says, "You don't need to worry about that yet." Or
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And that wasn't like you don't need to worry about it. Like, oh, you're probably not gay. It was
Right.
like you don't need to worry about it. Like, just figure it out when it's time to
Yeah.
figure it
That
out.
was so cool.
Yeah.
Or you could be like you could be gay, but you're not a faggot. You're never
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
be a faggot.
Yeah.
Don't ever let anyone call you that. Yeah, like, and you got to wonder, like, if he had stayed around in that kid's life, would he still have those same closeted problems through his whole adolescence? Or
I mean, we
would
don't
he
know-
like have one person who's like, you know, dude, it's cool, whoever you are, because no one else around him was like that.
I don't know. I think knowing that he was selling drugs to his mother, that changed everything. So even if he were still around, I don't think it would have.
Yeah, I don't think their relationship was ever perfect after
No.
that revelation. Clearly, like they make it known that they
They
were
were
still
the
still a
friends.
very big part of each other's lives. But it
His
was
mom went to the funeral.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like yeah, I don't think he would have been like his saving grace by any means,
Right.
Just because of that.
Right.
But yeah, so talking a little bit about the teenage version of him. Now, this was the version that I, for some reason, between seeing it in theaters and watching it now, I forgot the most about. I remembered all of the adult version and all of the kid version, but that's mostly because Mahershala Ali was
Yeah.
in it, and I love that actor. But the teenage version, I kind of forgot a lot of the beats, which is weird because it's really where the big turn happens.
Yeah.
Which is funny considering that's the segment that has the most camera rotation.
Yeah.
Which I always thought, which at first threw me off, but then as I was revisiting it, I was like, okay, interesting. The most chaotic time, of course, would not have a steady camera.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. The cinematographer was very good.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, Graham Mason, worked with him once.
Oh, nice.
And I was very sad that he didn't keep working.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I should have kept in touch with that guy.
Sorry, Graham.
Yeah. But no, I really enjoy the teenage moment of this. Like I kind of annoyed that I forgot as much as I did because there's so much. Like I remembered obviously the love moment on the beach.
With Kevin.
Yeah, and then I kind of forgot the rest of it. I had totally forgotten that Kevin beat him up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how I forgot
Yeah,
that part, but I
was
totally
so
forgot
confused
it.
when
Well,
you
it goes
didn't
to
remember that.
what you were saying about how it doesn't glorify it.
Yeah.
It was always hard in this movie to see the violence, the uglier parts of dealing with it because the camera never really let us see it.
Yeah.
And I think during that fight, it was hard to see or hard to watch because I couldn't see what was going on. It was chaotic. He was punching and then they were cutting. So you never saw him really punch. You saw
Yeah.
him punch and it cuts to him being punched.
Yeah.
Like the editing there is interesting in that it just kind of takes out a lot of the impact. but at the same time still has that impact.
Well, because it removes the physical impact and replaces it with emotional impact.
Right.
It's another reason why, like, when I look at this movie and it won Best Picture, I'm like, well, this is why.
Yeah.
Like there's so many just little things in this movie where a lesser filmmaker or a lesser film would have had
The
a
bully.
really brutal fight, and people are like, oh God! But this one, it's very brutal, but it doesn't show it.
But then it does take a brutal turn when he gets his revenge on the kid with the chair.
But even that's half a second.
Yeah, but you see it in a nice wide shot. Like they
That's
show
true.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I really thought that fight was brutal, like emotionally, the way they shot
Totally.
it.
Yeah, and they cut out of it just
especially
in
in
time
the
too.
eyes.
Yeah.
Like
No.
the part when Kevin is telling him to stay down, and they're making eye contact the whole time, and you see the betrayal on his face of like, like, I'm in love with you, essentially. How could you do this to me? And you see Kevin's just like, he needs to be accepted socially, but he also loves him back. And just the conflict of intent in that entire fight beyond the brutality of the fist fight is so intense to me.
And that's where, like, that's what I agree with you. I think a lesser film would have showed more of the fist fight and less of that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it such an impactful scene, is that stuff.
It also came like what, a scene or two after he got touched on the beach, or is it like the next
It's
scene?
I think it's like the next
no,
scene.
you have the
There's
scene.
the car
or-
ride.
Yeah, the car
Car
ride,
ride.
and then you have like the scene at lunch where Kevin gets proposition.
Got it. So it's yeah.
But it's like the next like big story moment. You have like the goodbye, and then hey, we're gonna kick the crap out of him, and then they're kicking the crap out of him.
For me that was kind of relatable too. Like in high school, I remember it kind of being that way. Like you have like these like big moments with people or friends or relationships or whatever, and then they suddenly like twist and turn on a dime, and
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's always in the cafeteria.
it's always in the cafeteria.
And
It's a
just-
corollary to the whole like everyone at parties, everyone gathers in the kitchen.
Yes.
It's like it's where the big stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
It's just-
food, man. It's so communal.
Yeah.
And it was so like, I love the little tidbits on this movie just because with Little, when he can't sit with Kevin at the lunch, when he's about to get propositioned for the fight, the only place he ends up sitting is where the security guy and the lunch ladies are taking a break.
Yeah.
Like he feels like he has zero contact with any friends or whatnot.
Well, he
Kevin-
doesn't.
Yeah.
He's in a school that clearly would never be accepting of a gay kid ever, and the one person who's accepting of him is sitting with the one guy who wants to, essentially, has threatened to kill him on multiple occasions. So yeah, he has nowhere to sit, and like it's heartbreaking. Like that's the thing about the movie is it's not a very pleasant watch.
No.
No.
It's a very good movie, but it's not like, oh, let's throw on Moonlight for a couple of laughs. It's like, nah.
It's a great illustration for being an outsider.
Yeah. And that's where it comes into. I like that you said outsider because my cousin Matt, who told me to watch this movie, and Matt is gay, and I'm like, oh yeah, I heard that's a really big movie in the gay community right now. He's like, yeah, it is, but it's not a gay movie. It's just it's about being an outsider and not being accepted and trying to find out what love is, and they're just telling that through the main character being gay, while not being about being gay. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and he actually liked it more because of that. He's like, because it normalizes
Right.
being gay more so
Yeah.
than a movie that's all about being gay.
It's
I keep
gr-
saying being gay.
Yeah, it's like when I want a strong female character, I don't want you to tell me the whole time she's a strong female character.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't pander, just accept.
Yeah, and this movie did a very good job of like, no, this is just the way it is.
Yeah.
And I really, looking at it through that lens, I think is a very interesting way to do it because I think this movie did really get a lot of press and like advertising in the way of it is the big gay movie of 2016. When you watch it, it didn't really feel like
It's
that.
a hook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, so that they just used that, but then we got a beautiful movie.
But that being said, it's a really good being gay movie, right?
It is. But yeah, no, I think this movie does a really great job of articulating what it's like to be a complete outsider.
Yeah.
I mean, and everyone feels like that at some point. Even the popular kids in school always feel like that at some point. And this movie just really does a good job of shining a light on it and showing, like, this is what it feels like.
They kind of showed that through Kevin too, right? Because he was clearly
Absolutely.
popular, very popular. But he was an outsider too. If he's bi or gay, whatever he is.
Yeah.
He was just very good at hiding it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knew how to work the system or whatnot of the social hierarchy, which I keep forgetting his real name. I keep wanting to call him Little.
Chiron.
Chiron didn't know how to do.
Yeah, no. I always thought Kevin was bi.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's very, I mean, unless he's just saying it, which he could be, in that area, it's kind of a way to deal with things. But this is the fact that he was very into sleeping with girls, got a girl
Yeah.
pregnant, has a child. Like, but still very clearly into men. I just assumed he was bi. But it's
could
another
be-
thing where they
it's
just
a buy or a cover. I mean, either way.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's still another thing where they don't shine a light on it. Like,
Yeah.
I love this movie for not constantly telling us everything that's just going on and just showing it, and you just kind of have to accept it. I think that's great.
You get those long, breathy moments where you
so
just
good.
can
Yeah.
see what's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Like I specifically, when we were talking about the jerky camera work during the teenage years, when he's walking back home after staying with Teresa, and he runs into his mom who's locked herself out of the apartment. And the camera work specifically in that moment gets so jarring because you're just seeing like almost like his panic of, this is my mother.
She's
I
going
want
to
get
rob
it.
me.
She's not even that she's going to rob. It's just that it's one of the. He's probably not even thinking about getting robbed at that moment. It's just the moment where you're in complete public space, and everyone knows she's a drug addict. But even so, you still try to hide at the chaoticness of it, and there's no hiding. They're completely open in this little field, and he is mentally probably panicking, and they try to bring that through in the camera work, which I thought was great. And then you get inside, and then
It does this lag thing that I think is pretty cool in the movie to kind of denote those, like, where it becomes too much for him to bear. The audio keeps going, but the video changes. Like where the mother's talking, but she's not, like, the videos of her not talking. It's just before she starts talking. It's very interesting, and you know, as an editor who sees all that sort of like lag on a slower computer system, it's like to have it used that way as a very artistic way is interesting.
I also caught it on this most recent viewing, like you're saying that they're just talking about things out in the open. They're literally airing their dirty laundry where they're drying their clothes.
Where they're drying the clothes,
there's so many moments of that sort of thing with him feeling trapped.
Yeah.
Like once they get into one apartment and she just is passed out and she's telling him, "You're my one and only. I'm your one and only." Just like she's trying to be sweet, but it's just and to him, he's just feeling trapped.
Yeah.
And then when the other sequence when he's at school and the kid says, "I'm going to be waiting for you," and he's waiting in a stairwell where he's surrounded by fence, like he's literally in a cage.
Yeah, right.
And
they
play on that so many times in this film, which is great.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. There's no wide shots in the middle section. It's all very much close on everyone's face. Everything is very close to him.
Well, it's not super. I mean, they don't do a lot of like really wide establishing shots, but there's a few. Like when he's walking home from Teresa's and the two boys come up to him who want to threaten him. That's kind of a wide shot. And it's definitely a wide shot when he hits him with the chair.
Right. But primarily all like the kind of the tough moments. The big
all the
moments
story beats all come through close-ups.
where he feels the most trapped. I'm thinking about those shots where it's just like you can't see anything outside the frame. Like you can't see the setting. You don't know where you are. You can't get a grasp on
Very
anything.
claustrophobic almost.
Quick side note: Naomi Harris is like one of the best actresses working today. Does anybody disagree with that?
No.
She's one of those actresses that pops up in movie after movie after movie, and I always forget about her because she's such a character actor that she just kind of disappears into every single role.
Yeah.
And then when I was watching this, I'm like, man, she looks familiar. Oh God, she was in Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3, like as a main character.
28 days later.
28 days later, like
She was
you
the
just made me realize who she is.
She is everywhere. She plays Money Punny in the most two recent James Bond movies. Like,
Wow.
she is amazing.
She is.
holy poo.
Holy poo.
Like no.
We just blew your mind so
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
you couldn't say shit.
Yeah, like when I looked into it, I'm like, my God, she's everywhere and she's fantastic because I
Yeah.
never remember her from movie to movie to movie. Like, that's so impressive.
It's great when you can embody characters that way.
Really made me wish she's had won the award for this one because she was up for it and didn't quite get it. But
She was nominated.
she was nominated,
Yeah.
and that's already pretty impressive.
Well, and it's a role in movies that kind of can be very thankless and hard to do. Just being like the person, like the drug addict, that
Yeah.
could like you can do that wrong so easily.
Yeah.
That like I don't know, she was still like a sympathetic character, and it was all her performance for me. Like,
well, moving into say Black, the adult version of Chiron, the moment with Naomi Harris in that scene was still like she's obviously clean and trying to get better in her life, still very manipulative, and I think that was really important because like he's never going to give up on his mom. He's clearly he loves her because she's family, but never really wants to be around her, and she realizes that, and she can't stop herself either. But you're right; it's all through performance. None of it's really said, but you can see that she's trying to manipulate him. She's clearly like she wants to be a part of his life, but doesn't know how.
Yeah.
Like all these things in there. It's really rough to watch, but it's
a
all through
toxic
performance.
relationship that there's never really a cure for.
Yeah.
It's like you could see how this kid gets to where he is as an adult.
And it's
Totally. And I had people argue with me about that one. But like, no, I don't think he would have been a drug dealer. I'm like, are you out of...
That's the
No.
only thing he knows.
Yeah, and that's
What?
his one good figure in his entire life
Was a drug
a
dealer.
drug dealer.
And then he says that when he goes to juvie or whatnot, did he go to juvie or did he go to jail?
Juvie.
But that's where he met another quote unquote father figure.
Yep.
And he
Yeah.
says the moment he got out, he put him into the game or
Yeah.
system or whatever. And yeah, that's
Put him on the
Has-
block.
Yeah.
kind
that's
of
what they talk about when they talk about trying to help black communities. Like there's just such a systematic step system for them to end up in the same circle.
Yeah.
Great for Jeff Sessions.
Yeah.
well, and as an interesting aside in this movie, kind of with those performances, I feel like you could take away any spoken words, and you would still know all the words that were said. And I
Yeah.
think that was the thing that stood out the most to me. Kind of waking up this morning and thinking about it, was that the dialogue was so inconsequential. I got everything just from the way they looked at each other. Everyone looked at each other in a different way. Everything was talking through eyes, and it was very
Yeah,
interesting.
It's true. Like everyone in this film could act with their eyes, and
Yeah.
that's something that we don't get in movies actually very often. There's plenty of people that act with their mouth and act with their arms and everything, but
It sounds like such a
Act with
knock,
their
especially,
belly button.
It's
especially
true.
with a voice actor sitting at
Yeah,
the table.
but
You just go into a
It's such an
casting thing.
important
Here's my belly button.
it's kind of like when I actually watched reality TV and I watched Top Model and I watched Tyra Banks give people direction, and she would go through these things, just be like, all right, you need to smile with your eyes, and then she would change, and it was such a profound little thing to me because I'd never really thought about it. It was like, yes, Tyra Banks can do all these things as a model, which made her like the top model for such a long time. And there's so many people that can't do that, but they can't express in that fashion where you get a completely different emotion from them within seconds.
It's funny you say that because when I was in college, whenever we did like screen acting projects, they would make us watch it after we'd done it all with dialogue, and we turn off the sound, and that's how it'd be graded. If you could get the story through just the reactions, just the emotions, no dialogue, that would determine your grade in the class. So I think maybe these are just really good actors, and we don't have really
they're
good
definitely
actors in
great
a lot
actors.
of, a lot of things
There's a
anymore.
lot of people that are cast because they're pretty.
Sure.
And they're pretty, and their names and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's like the guy, the one who played the oldest version of Chiron. He, in my opinion, nothing against the other two, he had so much to do. Is that like I've heard complaints through the internet and whatnot that he was the weakest part of the movie, and I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I think he actually did a very good job. He just had way more to do than everyone else. He had to play both like the true crime
He was tough,
drug dealer,
tough guy, lonely guy, sad guy.
Yeah.
closeted gay man who's never had a relationship with anyone that wasn't terrible in any way, shape, or form. Like he has so much to go through and to show in every single scene, and I think he nailed it.
Me
Yeah,
too.
me too.
Yeah.
And he's like the one person that not a lot of people talk about from this movie. It's all Naomi Harris and Mahershala Ali, and like that's great. They were both fantastic. But like this guy, he had so much to do, and I think he nailed every aspect of it.
I broke down a little bit when he, in the very end of the movie, when he was like, you know, you're the only guy who ever touched me. And like you just see it. You see all of the front leave his face for a moment. He just is vulnerable.
Oh, the conflict leading up to him saying that line,
Yeah.
all on that face. Like,
Oh, what is that? 40 minutes or 30 minutes of them talking in circles around each other and not
Yeah.
being able to admit the feelings they have?
and
that's- I'm
just
not-
real quick, his name is Trevante Rhodes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Kevin has the same conflict of how he feels about Chiron. I
Yeah.
feel like Chiron definitely has it for him.
Yeah.
But that also might be a little bit of first love, never was able to get over it sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the end of this movie is them in a relationship together.
No.
Oh,
not
I
at
just
all.
got really excited, by the way, though, because I'm looking at Trevante Rhodes' IMDb, and he's going to be in the new Predator movie.
That's awesome. I look forward to that. But no, I don't think the end of this movie is not about them ending up together. And I've heard that complaint from a lot of people. They should have ended up together. I'm like, I don't think so.
Oh my god.
Kevin has a daughter. He has clearly a life.
Yeah.
He's just, I think, willing to help and is going to help Chiron fix his situation.
I think they
Even
end
then,
up
I
together.
don't know. I think they had a good night on the beach and stayed over, and then Chiron goes back to Atlanta, and Kevin stays in Miami.
But
I-
did
that
they get breakfast?
They
They will probably get breakfast.
They'll probably make
Yeah.
him exit
I
the
don't know.
diner.
Good.
Yeah.
But no, I think Kevin stays a part of his life.
I hope so.
My takeaway from the end of the movie, and just could be that I'm an optimist and a little bit of a romantic. I think that this is the movie. I think this is the moment where he starts turning his life around.
That would be great.
That's what I like to think. I
Yeah.
think that he would start trying somehow to leave the drug trade. He would try to be fixing himself from that point, because it's the first time he's ever actually able to admit
Yeah.
to anyone his legit problems.
Yeah.
Because every other time he started to get to that point, something horrible happened. Like he felt somewhat connected with Mahershala Ali's character, and then he found out that he was dealing his mom's drugs.
Yeah.
He started to connect to Kevin, and then he got assaulted by Kevin, and then got thrown into juvie. This is the first time he was actually ever able to legit open up to somebody and start accepting his life. So I think that was the first step. And I think that's what the whole movie's about, is getting to that first step.
And I love that they end the movie just kind of with Kevin holding him.
Yeah.
me
Just
too.
stroking his head, just kind of getting the loving physical affection that it doesn't look like he ever got his whole life.
Ever.
No, and the only physical affection he ever really got was a hand job. And
Yeah, but that's different type of affection.
no, it is, but it's still like that was like it's such a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the only time you ever get some sort of physical like connection with anyone, it's that, and then nothing ever again.
Yeah.
I would say the sexual affection, because he was getting touched whenever he learned how to swim, and I thought that moment was beautiful too. Whenever
That's
he's
true.
with
That's
Juan.
true.
Yeah, he
with
was being
Juan,
held.
Yeah, when he was with Juan, absolutely, he got some. But I think that ended after the
Yeah,
the
that ended
revelation.
after that.
Yeah,
right, for
after the
sure.
revelation.
And Teresa tried, I felt like, but you never see them touch or anything.
No,
They're
and-
always on opposite ends of the frame.
She tried
Yeah.
to play with him, like when she tried to make jokes with him
Yeah.
like, when they were making the bed, but he still felt very
Yeah.
standoffish.
He felt like the type of guy who did not want to accept charity in any way, shape, or form, and
Yeah.
that's really what she was offering. She wouldn't see it as that. She was just trying to help a friend.
and
Or
Plus-
love,
yeah.
right? Whenever
Yeah.
he's with his mom and she's loving, like she's immediately like brash and wanting something
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
fucked up on
And-
dope right after.
And
Yeah,
smashing
absolutely.
Teresa.
And smashing
Yeah.
Teresa.
Yeah.
And giving this kid shit for not being a man enough or whatever. Like his mom gave him shit that he needs to be stronger and tougher. So like he probably felt closed up inside the entire time. Like I can't take love. I can't take affection. I'll be soft.
yeah, no, this is clearly.
Well, that's actually what the thing Kevin told him when they were 9. You need to
Right.
you need to be hard, or what is
Yeah.
he saying?
Stop being so soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he like when you're 9 years old, you really internalize that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, this is like as we said before, it's a great character study, and this is a character study about someone who does not understand what love is and
Yeah.
has never been able to feel it.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah.
And even though it does have what I think is a positive ending, it's still not a positive ending. Like everything's okay
No,
now.
of
Like
course not.
he's still got a very rough life ahead of him.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely still going to sell drugs after.
I think so too.
Honestly.
I
Maybe not forever, but he's definitely going to go sell some drugs.
I do too.
Yeah. And
How about the crown on his dash and like remembrance
That
of
was
Juan?
Juan.
type
Do you
thing?
think
But
that was
his
Juan
was
Sim's
black
crown?
and Juan's was red.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Because his name is Black.
Oh
305.
yeah, that makes
Oh.
sense.
License plate.
Some production
It's
designer got
almost
really
as
into
if I pay attention to that stuff.
It's almost like I don't. But no, I liked that. I thought that was again him emulating the only positive influence in his life.
Yeah.
Man, this movie has some fucking layers.
Yeah, absolutely.
But speaking of which, is there anything that we haven't touched on that we would like to move into?
I thought
We kind of moved through all the story.
Oh,
beats.
okay.
the opening song was a very nice beginning.
I think all the music
Yeah,
was a
music and sound
wonderful.
design.
But I specifically loved that song.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we're beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's perfect.
But no, I thought every music choice, especially the one that made Kevin think of Chiron.
Oh, that song. When it
So
comes on.
many, so many just great choices in this movie. Barry Jenkins, the director, just he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. And
What has he done before?
Nothing that I had seen.
Okay.
going on to the production design aspect again, just his apartment through the stories. Because you see, like at the very beginning, she's got a job.
Mm-hmm.
And you go into their apartment, there's decoration, there's things, there's a television, there's all this stuff like a home. I mean, she clearly seems like she's a struggling single mother, and you get tension from that immediately. And then as you start to see her falling into a crack lifestyle, he comes... I don't know how to say it.
There's no right way to say it without
no.
seeming
That is the
offensive.
best way to say it.
He comes home one day, the TV's gone. And every scene after that, things are being removed from his apartment until you get to the very end, and there's just bags of trash and clothes on the floor. He pulls a blanket out of a trash bag to cover her with, and just like the complete devoid of material wealth, but that it also represents like the void in his mental state and her not being able to take care of herself at all. She definitely would have died without him. I don't know if she was in rehab or if she was just in an assisted living place at the end, but he's definitely paying for her to be there.
From what I understood at the end was that she was in rehab. She did not think she could get out of rehab, and they're letting her work to stay.
If you actually look closely, he's wearing a sticker that says the name of the drug rehabilitation facility.
It says visitor. And
well, I knew it was some sort of rehab. I didn't know she was working there. If she was living there.
She says they're letting her stay when she works.
Okay.
At the beginning of the movie, is she a nurse? Because
she's a nurse at the beginning. She's
right?
in Scrubs.
So that's kind of interesting too. That she's like, her job is to help people, and she never helped Chiron, and now she's going to help people get clean again,
that's
too.
classic.
Classic.
My entire job is cleaning sets all day, but our apartment is a complete dump.
Fair.
Yes, it is. There's something I was going to say about Naomi Harrison.
Brian, you need to clean more.
I do.
Have you seen that thing, the mental load going around the Facebooks right now?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with Moonlight?
It has something to do with men doing chores.
All right, it had nothing to do with Moonlight. Moving on. Is there anything else that we have not hit on this movie? I feel like we've hit pretty much everything. We've covered pretty much all the... We didn't really talk about the actress who played Teresa very much. She was very good, but she didn't really have a lot to do. But she did a very good job with what she had to do.
Yeah.
She did a great job at conveying the right word.
Is it Janelle Monáe? Is that her name? Janelle? She was in
Hidden Figures.
Yes.
Yeah, she was great.
She was great in that one.
Yeah.
And she's like a model singer.
Yeah. Oh, she's great. I just didn't think that her role had a ton to do in this thing. No. But she was very good with what she had. Same with like the teenage Kevin. I thought he was fantastic, and we didn't really talk about him very much, but he was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of really good stuff in this movie. But seeming that we're kind of circling the drain, I feel it's time for quotes. But I will throw one caveat in there because this movie is very much into silence and not speaking. I will also allow favorite moments.
I've already said mine. It's the last line of the movie. You're the only man who ever touched me, and no one has touched me since. And then that look they have with each other. I mean, Kevin, as an adult, his facial expressions were just as good as Chiron's. And
absolutely.
The whole scene in the diner through the scene at their house was so awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I'll jump on that. My favorite, I'll go with a moment, is the second Chiron hears the song that Kevin plays.
Yeah.
And it's like this moment of like almost confusion but total understanding at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's just all
like they've been beating around the bush for so long. Like, did you call me here so we could give me another handy? Or
such a good moment.
My favorite quote, which I'm stupid and I didn't write it down, even though I told myself to do it, was an illustration of Kevin just knowing how to work the system socially. When he runs into Chiron in the stairwell, surrounded by a fence, and he's talking about how he did the girl, and I'll try to remember how he says it and be like, and then I got caught, and I did my I can't talk. I don't remember exactly what he said. Where he said that he talked to the guy who found him, and all he got was detention, but that's okay, yo, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Like
I'm ruining this quote. It's a really great moment of the movie.
I told him she was my childhood sweetheart, and all I got was detention.
Yeah. I should have written it down because I knew I wasn't going to be able to find it on the internet.
It's okay.
But it's such a great moment for his character because he's showing all the confidence and swag that Chiron doesn't have.
Yeah.
And wishes he could have.
Yeah.
It's a great moment.
While also, for some reason, talking to Chiron and also already kind of like suggesting his affection for him.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
For me, the scene, it's the harder one to watch. It's the punch out. And it's basically that moment, their looks between each other, and that set up your moment in not exactly one-to-one framing, but very similar, close, just those two moments are just so strong.
Yeah.
And that one is just what hit me the most.
Yeah.
I had two quotes, if that's cool.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Chiron says, "So is your name Blue?" And then Juan says, "Nah. At some point, you got to decide for yourself who you're going to be.
Yeah.
Can't let nobody make that decision for you." And that's when he's like learning to swim or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
So
yeah,
good.
that's the whole thing, isn't it? And then the last one is towards the end with Kevin, whenever it's Black and Kevin. And he's telling about his life and like all the things he's been through and having a daughter and stuff. And he's like, man, that's some real shit, man. And then Kevin says, no, man, it's a life, you know? I ain't never had that before.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Black is looking for whenever you're talking about like now he's trying to find what he's going to do next and maybe he'll change his life or whatever. Because this guy's just a cook. He doesn't have much. But it's a life, and he never had that before.
Yeah.
He's really happy.
He's really happy.
Yeah.
With like having nothing.
Yeah.
But he's not a drug dealer.
It's true.
Yeah.
No, he's an ex-con working in
Yeah.
working in a kitchen in what is it, Georgia?
No, I think he's still in Florida.
Oh, is he
Yeah.
still in Florida?
He's
Oh,
still in Miami.
Yeah, Black moved to Georgia and then
Black moved to
yeah,
Georgia.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. So time for a review system, and this one I'm gonna make it as vague as possible to try to make it both easy and difficult. Movies about love, but you have to tie that into Moonlight somehow.
Romeo and Juliet, the movie that
Which one?
Which one?
the good one,
Which
one?
one's the good one?
not the one before Baz Luhrmann's, I guess. The one from what was it, the 70s or 80s?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the story of Romeo and Juliet in general. It's just a forbidden love that couldn't be and still ends kind of tragically.
Sure.
This is gonna sound real silly.
Oh no! Don't say Kate Leopold.
No. Moulin Rouge.
It does sound really
yeah?
silly.
I mean,
They both start with M.
yeah, whatever. It's a completely different type of movie, but
Sure.
it's still all about he's a writer, she's a fancy courtesan, and the type of love that you're not supposed to have. In that movie, it's like social class.
Yeah.
In this movie, it's about being gay, and there's still things that they clearly want to be together, but they're still pulled apart by bullies, and in the end, he gets to hold her. She's dying. But I don't know. I get the same level of emotion out of it. Because in Moulin Rouge, at the end when she's dying and he's holding her and you feel the love between them, it totally destroys me emotionally every time. I cry in that movie. And in this movie, I still feel the total despair. But this movie ends up more hopeful, which is refreshing in that regard. Because you feel like they might end up being okay.
So I'm gonna go blue is the warmest color, and I'm going blue is the warmest color because it is similar with. I mean, it's not about drug dealing and whatnot, but it is about the main character Adele not knowing really who she is and what she wants out of love, and then when she finds something, she just assumes that's everything, even though it might not be. And it's about kind of her learning what is and isn't love and what isn't a good relationship. And that movie's also fucking amazing, and it also is about things being blue. So yeah, mine works perfectly.
Mine's real loose. Homeward Bound.
I recently tried
nice.
watching that movie.
Because they're both about acceptance and getting lost and being on the streets and love being where the home is and home being where the love is. Homeward Bound.
It's more articulate than mine by far.
I love the idea of like, oh, I want to see Moonlight. Have you seen Homeward Bound? You'll love it.
That's the thing. That's the thing is once Moonlight finally gets on Netflix and you hit that little thumbs up,
Yeah.
it's like because you've liked Moonlight, Homeward Bound will be the very first thing you see.
My God.
Yeah, mine might actually pop up in the recommendations. Lawrence's?
Mine won't pop up in the recommendations either.
No, I don't think so. There's a higher likelihood than Homeward Bound, but still, it worked. I think you tied it in well.
Thank you.
Okay, so that brings today's episode to a close.
I didn't put mine in yet.
Oh, I guess it doesn't then, does it?
No.
Skipping right over.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I do.
All right, go for it.
Almost Famous.
Okay.
And it's because both movies are, in a sense, coming-of-age stories.
Yep.
And the moment in Almost Famous where he has to kind of take care of Penny in the hotel, after all kind of the shit has fallen away and it's gotten real, it's just, there's that moment of human effect, like kind of care.
Yeah.
And it was very big, a very important moment in that movie.
Yeah. That movie destroyed Cameron Crowe.
Yeah.
He hasn't made a good thing since, unless you count Aloha. I know you're trying to find a good Cameron Crowe movie in your mind right now. You're not going to find it. Good
What
luck.
about Elizabethtown? Because you like Moonlight.
Oh, fuck Elizabethtown. Okay, so that brings today's episode to a close. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave in my other failed attempt at ending the episode. Now I feel like I should. Yeah, so a little bit of news. This is our final episode for a little while. We are taking the month of June off of recording because I haven't taken any time off since I started this podcast like 5 years ago, and I think I deserve a break.
No, you don't.
What?
Yeah, so
What?
we are still going to have episodes coming out. We have 4 episodes. I've already cut them. I just need to add one little thing to them, and they are going to be our origin story, if you will.
Yeah.
So the first episode will be our first ever released episode. Don't worry, I'll explain that in the episode. And then we have John's first episode, Chewie's first episode, and Ryan's first episode. So that'll be kind of a fun thing. One of them is a little tied into what we just did like 2 weeks ago, but whatever. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun going back and listening to them, and it's kind of cool hearing Nick again. He'll be in 2 of them. But yeah, actually, it might be in 3 of them. Now I'm thinking about it.
Am I in one
Maybe.
of them?
Yeah. Otherwise, it wouldn't be
One.
your first
It's my
episode.
first episode.
Tough to be your first episode
I don't know
without
if
you
I
on
was
it.
in another one. If that was just that one.
No, you're in 2 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, but it should be a lot of fun. I think people will enjoy it. It's really fun kind of going back. Yeah, and then big thanks to our new recording artists. Do you remember their name? Sun Country, Cross Country.
Cross Country 512?
This is,
That sounds right. Yeah, this is-
Roughly?
this is
Hey,
a great endorsement.
they
for them.
told me I can do whatever I want to endorse them, so this is what I'm doing.
The link is now on any episode,
Yeah.
like, for their, like, where you can actually get their services.
Yes.
So,
we bought 3 songs from them, and I think they've all turned out really well. They're a lot of fun. One of them is probably playing right
Give you services.
now. So do you hear that? I can hear it. It's playing underneath my voices. You guys hear it? It's playing right now. It sounds really good, doesn't
Lots
it?
of good services.
Yeah.
it's
I-
exquisite.
I think it sounds wonderful.
It
so
services my ears.
There's oral services.
it's working out great.
It gives great oral.
Lawrence, thank you
Lot of
so
good
much for
art.
coming out for this.
Thank you
It
for
was,
having
it was a
me.
lot of fun. We need to have you back on again.
Yes, absolutely.
You're so soft-spoken, by the way.
I try.
You need to bring out the
I like that you tried.
booming,
Yeah.
start-changing accent.
Dance, monkey,
But
dance.
every time you bring
We're
up a
running
new
out
point,
of time
it's
for the
in a new
music.
accent.
It's gonna run out. We gotta go. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, it's me, Joel Jones.